Okay, so this is going to be kind of a different video. I'm going to show you my cases that I organize things into to get an idea of how kind of OCD slash organized I am striving to become more and more every day. Um, okay, so this top case is actually not a Pelican case. Most of my cases are Pelican. I think this is called, oh gosh, I can't remember the name. I have to look online, but this is more of a general aluminum case. You can find a lot of these things like at Lowe's or Home Depots, things like that. Anything that kind of deals with usually like electric drills or electric screwdrivers, anything like that, because these are designed for, these are in a lot of cases designed to use with like tools, electric tools, smaller electric tools, obviously, because it's not a huge case, as you can see from the depth is not the depth, but the height is not very tall. But what you're going to see inside is what's called pluckable foam. So the difference between this and like the Pelican cases is there's a latch here, and these latches are different. See, I'll zoom in a little bit here. So the latch is here. There's more of a latch where it goes up there and connects, then comes back down. And then there's a part that closes. So the latches on the Pelican case are different because not only are there latches on the front, and they don't have this little ring part connector. They have connections on the side. You can see down here. There's a latch here on this side here. If you have sight. If not, then I'll describe it to you. So as you open it up, similar to a Pelican case, on the back there's sort of bubble-headed foam on the interior of the lid. So it has little peaks and valleys all over it. That's why I kind of call it bubble-headed. I don't know if there's a technical term for it. But basically that's designed so that in addition to the foam that's in the main body of it, there's actually foam at the top. So once the lid's closed, and the lid is not the final hard connection to the material inside the foam area, there's actually another layer of foam to keep it padded. So this is actually, well, this is not as there. This one is not designed to be as durable, meaning it doesn't have the same kind of heat retention / water retention protection, heat resistance, water resistance protection as my Pelican cases. This was appropriate for this particular set of items. So this is actually extra microphones I have. This is an RE, I think this is the 720, maybe the RE20, but it's the same microphone that like Rush Limbaugh used, the conservative talk show host. These are some of the first microphones I ever purchased. There's not a microphone in this second slot right now. It's the copy to this one, but for some reason I haven't been able to find it, so I don't know what the other microphone is, but I do have two like this one. I don't know the brand. The brand is written right there on the side. But as you can see, this foam is kind of cut to fit this microphone. So that's really the key with this kind of material is I can cut it, I can pluck it to make it fit. There's little cubes right here. And if you can look, if you can see it, you can see that they're about ½ inch thick little cubes. They're about ½ inch tall. They're about 1 inch tall and about, I would say, 1/3 or ½ inch wide by depth. So, and then they're tall, so they're taller about 1 inch, okay? And they're little cubes, and they're all connected across this pattern, across the full spectrum of the case. But what happens is that as you need to fit stuff into it, you begin to cut these, you begin to tear these pieces. You can do it by hand. You have to be very careful on some of them. On like this one, the foam wasn't as good as I recall, so it was a little harder to tear it. So it didn't work as well. The foam in the Pelican cases is definitely a little bit higher of a quality pluckable foam, This isn't bad. It's just not as durable. So this is not as pre-cut as well, I don't think I would say. But anyways, so I basically cut out the shape of the case for the microphone and fit it in here. And then I cut out the shapes of the microphones that were not in cases and put them over here. So this is one, and it goes this way, and then I reverse the other one, and it would go the other way. They just don't have it, like I said. And then back here, this is a microphone called an MK4816, which is what's called a shotgun mic. So these mics up here are considered condenser mics, okay? And condenser mics are ones that don't require phantom power. Okay, so phantom power means things that give it a boost to where you don't need to increase the gain, or which is the volume basically of audio. So these are considered condenser microphones. There's others that are called dynamic microphones, and those usually require phantom power. Anyways, back here, and these are this one, the RE2720, and then this microphone here, in addition to some of my other microphones, are designed for like broadcast, podcasting, things like that. This one back here, while you can use it as a microphone to record audio in a booth or something like that, and I have used it to record audio for, videos and things like that. This MK416 here in the back is generally considered what's called a shotgun mic, which is what you use on movies and moving presentations. So a lot of times on movies, if you've ever seen what's called a boom operator, that's a person who holds a microphone. He has a long stick, and on the end of that stick is a microphone that kind of aims down, and he points in the direction of the people who are talking. He points it towards their mouths, but from a distance, he's not right on top of them. That's what this is. That's what a shotgun mic is used for. That's what MKH416, and that's generally a very popular one. So underneath, I'm going to move this stuff aside for a second here. Move that one aside for a second. And move this one to the side for a second. What I really want to show you here is not that I'm trying to, just put the camera down for a second there. The next point of this is not to show you that, it is to show you the depth. So this case has 2 layers deep of pluckable foam. Now there is at the very bottom here another layer of foam, but that's a thinner layer of foam, but that's intentional to create padding. So like we have this bubble headed padding at the top of the case on the interior to protect the contents once you put the lid down, so it's not just hitting the hard shell of the case. Inside here to the bottom, you actually have another little layer of padding, which is designed to protect the contents from just hitting the hard shell at the bottom of the case. So this is 2 layers deep, so 2 inches layer of pluckable foam. And then here you saw my microphone position. I've taken the microphones out. So I'm taking out the first layer of foam, which is 1 inch thick. And now you're looking down into it. So now what you're seeing here are cords. So I've put down different cords that go for microphones. There's one like this, which is called a 1/4 inch. These are called 1/4 inch cables right here. So 1/4 inch on each end. Those. So most of the time, 1/4 inch cables are used for audio equipment, for not audio equipment, but for things like connecting an amplifier to a guitar or something like that. If you ever watch the movie Back to the Future, that's the only thing I can reference in my mind right now, you'll see Marty plug a cable like this one into the end of his electric guitar, and then on the other end, it's connected to an amplifier with a similar connector. That's called a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch. And then when you look at one like this, you'll see, if I can find it here. Oh, well, I guess I'm wrong about that one. So this is an XLR female to an XLR, well, that's an XLR male. XLR male to XLR female. And so what's the difference? So an XLR male usually is what you will find when you're connecting to like a board, like an audio board, like I use the Rodecaster Pros. But if you're connecting to things like a mixer, that's what I'm going to say, a mixer. Now mixers will have 1/4-inch connectors. They can also have XLR female connectors usually, and then you connect the male. XLR into the end of the female XLR on a mixer board, and on the other end there's a female XLR, and usually those are the ones that you will plug into a microphone. So usually microphones have female XLR connections, and usually what you'll find on female XLR connections is that they usually have like a little clip on the body of them. And the whole point of that is once it clips into place, that little clip will pop out showing it's locked in place. And then you press it down and pull out to remove the lock. So there's just a little audio training. Not that there's much there for you if you're not really interested in it. But so I have a small female to male XLR cable. And then I have 2 larger ones here that I have put in this case just for storage. And if I ever need cables, they're there. So I'm going to put the phone back over. So as you can see, even though it's got 4 different microphones in here, it also stores extra audio cables, which makes it easy for me to find these things. It's kind of the purpose of having cases like this. So I'll put these microphones back really quickly here. So as you see, I cut out that spot so I can put that microphone back in, and then I could take this one and put this one back where I cut it out back here. And that's where the MKH416 goes. And then I'll take the RE microphone here and I'll put it back inside the connector there, the section there. And you see now all of my microphones are together, or at least these microphones that are sort of my extra microphones that I may not use on a consistent basis are right here, all in this case here, and ready to go. So that is the first one. Oh wait, I have a little bag here. This is when I bought these microphones here, they were already previously owned. So they gave me these cases with them when I purchased them. This is a little case for it, so it wasn't just hanging out in a bag. So this is just an aluminum case. Now, I'll tell you the difference between this and the Pelican, which is really relevant. So Pelican, first off, you see this glare on here? I'll take that off. That's glossy. There's no glare there. This is a matte finish, whereas this has a gloss finish. Okay, it's a pure like grayish black case. This is good. It doesn't have the same kind of water resistance or fire resistance that the Pelican cases have. Still a good case. If you look for these, like look for aluminum case with plucket foam or pluckable pick and pluck foam. You can find these on Amazon for about $60. That's what that costs for that case. But it's relative, so let me give you a little indication. That's one of the things I want to say about this is that the equipment that's in here, this is also where you have to determine whether you need cases like this and if there's a value to them. So my equipment that's in here, the microphone on the left, the RE microphone, is right in the range of about $450. When I purchased it was about $450. The other microphones that were over here on this side, which I can't remember the name of the brand, those were about $200 a piece. And then the MKH416, that one was about $450 used as well. So when you put all those together, 900 plus 2 of those is about $400, so $1,300. And then the cords, which probably are worth about, $15, $20 worth of cords. Let's just call it 15 or 20 just to make it a little more of a solid number. So about $1,320 worth of cords inside of equipment and cords inside of this case. So remember, I paid $60 for it. So $60 relative to what it protects and what it holds. Let's see, what is 60? Computer, what is 60 divided by 1,320? Okay, my Alexa's not working over here right now. Anyways, the point is that it's still relatively large. It's like, I'm just doing math in my head. 52. So yeah, it's barely 4%. A little over 4% of the price of the equipment is what the case costs. So that's why it's relatively a good cost. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to put that one aside. And now we're going to actually get into the Pelican cases. So you're going to notice a big difference between this case here, and then the Pelican cases. The Pelican cases, first off, have this logo up here from Pelican. And then you'll notice on these that, now not all of them do, because this is a more medium-sized Pelican case. There are small, medium, and then large. Now the large one, I actually have a large one, which is at the very bottom here. We'll get to that in a little bit. But this is a medium Pelican case. And this one is, oh gosh, I wish I could remember the measurements. I want to say it's probably 16 to 17 inches wide by about 15 inches deep, and it's about 6 to 7 inches high. Don't quote me, but it's in that frame. These cases are now water resistant and fire resistant, not indefinitely, but for a few hours. They will survive extreme exposure to heat and water. Not forever. So if you have a house fire that was tremendous and everything was burned down, this will not survive the fire. And the contents of it most likely would not survive either, because it only has a certain amount of resistance before it does succumb. Extreme heat after a while would, of course, compromise it. If you threw this in the ocean or a lake or something like that, don't expect to come back and pull it out of the water and it be protected. After it gets to a certain submergence level, there's a lot of pressure around everything beneath it. That's why you can't swim super far deep in water, because of the pressure that's in the water. As deeper you go, the more pressure you have per square inch. And this would eventually be compromised by that kind of deep level of water depth. So this is for small situations. If there was smoke or fire or leaks in your home or things like that, this could endure a number of those situations, but it is not a ultimate catastrophe protection case. It's also an organizational case, which is one of the reasons I keep it. So if anything falls, it does have a lot of stability. The case has a very thick, heavy weight to it. So it absorbs a lot of shock when it hits the ground or something like that. More so than something like this case here that I was just showing you. So these are the Pelican cases. On the sides, they have latches. On the medium size and large size, they have latches. On the medium side, so on the small size, there's 2 latches in the front only. On the medium size, there's a latch on either side and 2 latches in the front. Okay, on the largest size, which I'll show you at the bottom, it actually has 2 latches on either side and 2 latches in the front. So the larger the case gets, the more durability it has. So this case here does come with a key lock, which is okay. There's actually key locks on the $60 case I was showing you. It does have key lock holes right here on where the latches are. You can key lock it, but honestly, it's kind of like a briefcase lock. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to break it. Okay, so it's not super durable. These locks on this are actually a little different. I'm going to latch that back just for a second. Right here where the latch is, there's actually a little hole right there to the left of it. And that's designed where you could put like a padlock or something like that, or a very thin rotted lock through there and then secure it. The same applies over here on the right side, just to the right of the latch. There's another little hole that you could put a slim rotted lock of some kind, padlock, or if you can find a rounded lock with a thin enough bar, you could put those on there to protect your stuff. The same on the sides. There's a lock there on the front side of the latch, on the left side, and on the right hand side on the front there is another hole for you to put a lock through if you really wanted to secure it. If this was, you know, a multi-$1,000 amount of stuff that you really wanted to secure, if I was traveling with this, for example, I would lock this up and probably put locks on 3 to 4 sides of it, which is something I can purchase eventually. I'll show you in a second here why I'm not doing that at this particular juncture, but that's something that I definitely could do here with this. Okay, so this is one of my Roadcasters. This is actually the newest Roadcaster, called the Roadcaster Pro 2, which just came out. And as you can see here on the back of the Roadcaster, so Roadcaster is a little different from some other kinds of mixers and things. So the Roadcasters allow you to do more than just do normal mixing. They actually allow you to kind of edit internally, meaning you can add in music to the devices. You can take phone calls in easier ways. It's more of an advanced mixer. It's kind of a they call it a podcaster's kind of device, but it's a multi-purpose audio recording hub, I guess is what I'd call it, because it has internal recording. Most mixers don't have internal recording. Anyways, so I don't want to get too much in Roadcasters right now because I'm not as educated as I need to be in it, and also that's not really the point of the video. But so on the back here, remember I mentioned earlier that there were 1/4-inch and female XLR connections. So this is a combination. Can you get in there? This is a combination 1/4-inch connector and female XLR. So a female XLR has little holes, and then the male has little stems that you can stick into those holes when it connects them. So this is a 1/4-inch, which is the dead centerpiece, or a female XLR connection. And there's 4 of them across there. There's some other connections for speakers, what they call monitors. There's a two USB-C connectors, and then there you go. So that's the Roadcaster Pro 2. We won't get too much into that one right now. It's not really the point of the video. But I'm showing you that that's where that one was sitting right here. It was designed to sit right there on this cutout. So this one, by the way, in addition to it being more resistant and more resistant to water and heat, this one also is layers thick. So it still has this padding on the interior of the case. So you can see there, it has that bubble-headed padding with those peaks and valleys there. That's there to protect. Once you close the case, it adds an extra layer of padding to protect it so that whatever's in here doesn't just hit the back of the lid. But then in here, the padding itself is 3 layers deep of 1-inch foam. Okay, so 3 layers deep of 1-inch foam, and keep in mind that the that the case at the bottom, it might be 1.5. I think it's 1 though. Just not to lie to you, but I think it's is it 1 or 1? It's 1. So it's 1 inch. I can pull out just the feel. So it's 1 inch. It's 3 layers of 1 inch foam, and then at the very bottom, again, there's another layer of padding that's not pluckable foam, but it is designed to be able to where you can cut stuff out. You can, you know, you can tear it to put stuff in its place. So this is pluckable foam. This one was not as easy as I recall to kind of cut. There's actually little residual tears of some of the material because it wasn't as easy to tear this one as I recall. This was the one that was the hardest of all of them, believe it or not. The other ones were actually pretty good and pretty easy to do, but this one was a little more difficult. But so in the front here, on the top here is where I had sitting on the top, the inside the top layer of the 1 inch deep, I had the Rodecaster Pro 2 sitting, and or the Rodecaster Pro 2. And then to the right of it, you can see these cables. These are the cables that go to the Rodecaster Pro 2. So there's a little strap for some cables. This is like connector cables you would use to connect the device. There's the wall cable. As you can see, I use a lot of Velcro on things to kind of keep them secure and not just everywhere. So that's the top layer. So if I remove the top layer now, move that over here. Now you can see that there's another layer here of foam. Now this one looks pretty flat on this side, and there's a reason for it, just in a second. On this side, it's more open. And here, I actually have a couple of small stands. So these are little weighted stands. These probably weigh 2 or 3 pounds, but they're little weighted stands so that once I could connect, I could put a microphone stand piece on there, which is right here. I'll show those in a second, but I could set 2 of these up, which is what most of my Rodecaster kits had, is 2 little mini microphone stands inside of them, so that I have it all in one. Now I do have one case that does not have that, but that's because it's generally just desired to transport it back and forth to my office. It's not designed for travel for remote recording. But this is these little mini stands that you can plug little microphones into. So I have 2 of those. And then back here, and that's pretty much on this layer at the top. Now, if you look back here, actually I could put something else here, which I'm thinking about doing. I have a what's called a cloud lifter, but I don't really need it in this one because the Rodecaster Pro 2 actually has cloud lifting built into it. But back here, you can see the stem of something back here. So that's part of the second layer. So I'm going to remove the second layer of 1 inch foam. Remove that, put it here. And now we're at the very bottom, on the very bottom layer. And this is where I actually have the microphones that I use. So first off, here are those little bars for the microphone. The little stands. This part right here screws into the bottom of that little microphone stand, and then this has an adjustable, hang on, I'll show you. You can see that this microphone arm extends. So it retracts or extends, and then you can lock it into place with this little twist here. And that's how you kind of secure it to where it doesn't move around. Loosey-goosey. See if I can do it. It's hard to do that with one hand. But so I have the 2 bars down here on the left hand, on the right hand side. And I kind of put them opposite because that way they kind of balance each other out, because the tightening, there's actually a word for it, the tightening knob, if you want to call it, which is not really a knob, but you know what I mean. The tightening aspect to it, which I can't remember what it's called right now, but there's a word for it. It kind of sticks out a little bit more, so I put them reverse from each other on here. So anyways, we'll move back. Back here is what's called a dead cat. Not a literal dead cat. A dead cat is a audio term for a wind muff. Basically, you put this over a microphone, and the whole point of it is it's supposed to kill explosives. So that's a very confusing term. And believe me, I did not understand this myself when I started doing this whole thing. So explosives are when you're when you're speaking into a microphone, and you have letters that usually cause you to like spit, basically, when you speak. So like P's and T's, those are the things that are called explosives, because I guess the expression is because you basically spit, because when you speak, you're secreting more saliva, and so it comes out. But the sound itself is and it has more of a explosive noise to it than like S or F or M or N or O or Q or R or S. But you just listen to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. See, there's more of an explosive sound that goes into the letter P. Q, R, S, T. See, there's more of that in T as well. Definitely more in P than in T, but there are more explosive sounds when you speak. So this is designed to kind of numb some of that explosive noise. This is a Shure MK. I want to say it's called an MKH. Oh gosh, I can't remember. It's one I just got recently. It's kind of a rare one. This is a white one. You can kind of see it's kind of a rare one. It's more of a white microphone. Well, it's more black there for some reason than white. Why does it look more black for sure? Well, I don't know why. Why it looks more black. But anyway, this is a Shure microphone, and it's just for recording, for audio recording. It's a kind of a mid-level microphone. It's not like the best microphone, but it's a good microphone. Then you can see here, I have a USB. I have what's called, this microphone is a little different from other microphones. This is why it's kind of a hybrid microphone, because it has the ability to connect to XLR or to connect via, I think it's a micro USB. So there's a micro USB connection on it, as well as and micro USB is not the best connection, by the way. The microphone's good, but the micro USB connection is not the best. And then on the back of this one, there's another microphone I have here that is micro USB-C, or micro USB to micro USB to USB-C. And then the other cable I have here is micro USB to USB. So just in case you don't know, USB-C is basically like a very thin cord. It's very close to looking like what you would see when you're looking at an Apple device, or if you have a Samsung device, your cable that connects into your phone is a USB-C. Okay, a lot of them are USB-C is a growing trend. This is an adapter which takes a XLR. It goes XLR male on the out, and then on the in, it has not a quarter inch, but you're going to call that a TRS, or basically 3.5 millimeter. So a 3.5 millimeter connection. So the idea is, if you have something that does not have, if you have like a standard microphone, like a lavalier microphone or something, that has a 3.5 inch out, you could connect it to the back of this, and then plug this into one of the ports on the Rodecaster, and it would work just the same as a XLR microphone. You'd have the same kind of level of adjustments and stuff to it. It's not quite entirely going to do all that, but it would do that. And then this is the other microphone I have, and this okay, so I was wrong on what I was looking at before. Okay, make sure. Am I correct or am I wrong? Let's see. Yes, I'm wrong. Okay, so this is actually the Shure MV7. I think it's called the MV7. This is the microphone I was talking about before. And the reason is it's white. I wasn't looking at the other one. So this is the MV7. This is the one that has the connection. You see this little dead cat that's already on it? There's already a dead cat on it. That's called the capsule when you take off the dead cat. That's the capsule where you talk into the microphone. But anyways, I didn't mean to get into that, but let's see here. What am I doing wrong here? Make sure this is all working properly here. I'm gonna have to fix this here. What's the back here? Where it's supposed to go. Okay. All right. So, sorry about that. I got confused. So the one on the left, the microphone here on the left, is actually it's white. That's why I recognize it as being the correct one. So this is actually the MV7, and this is from Shure as well. And this is the one that's more of a hybrid microphone that can connect either using XLR or connecting micro USB. And then you can connect to a computer or a mixer. And then these are the cables that you can connect to it. Over here on this side is that dead cat. I need to find some regular XLR cables for this one because this is a different kind of microphone. I forget what I'm not doing right here, but yeah. So this is a Shure SM7B. So this has an XLR connection right there on the back of the microphone, and then this is the base. You can connect it to a microphone stand or whatever the case may be. So as you can see, now I need to get the USB or microphone cables to put in here that will match this one, because right now I only have cables in here that will match the MV7, and I need to make sure I have cables. But as you can see, this is the third layer, and I have I have two microphones, the stand bars, the dead cat on the back that can go for the MV7. I could probably use it on the Shure SM7B. So Shure SM7Bs are actually a standard for microphones. That's used in a lot of studios. The Shure SM7B, along with the RE20s, are kind of broadcast standards in microphones that you use when you're in a studio. So anyways, these are on the third layer in that first level of inch. And remember, there is protection underneath it. And then I'm going to put the second layer back over here. See, it'll sit back down over it. And as you see, when I'm putting it back in, you can see that right here, I've plucked a hole out to where that extension from the Shure SM7B will stick up a little bit more, and it can stick out because otherwise it would just be pushing into the fabric. So I kind of cut out that hole so that the microphone can come straight through there. That bar of the microphone can come through there, and it has more room. And then I have this little square up here, which is where I made it to where I can set these two microphone stand pieces, the bases right there. And so now it's kind of flattened out in a level. Now it's a little higher overall, but it's an inch padding, so it protects everything. And then I take this last level here and put it over. And now I have my top layer. As you can see, that microphone stand still sticking up a little bit out of there, but it's not so much in the way. And then I have my room for my cables here. And then I'm going to put my cables for the Rodecaster Pro 2 back in their little slot there. And then this is the cable that connects it to the wall cable, the AC. And then I'll take the Rodecaster itself. And because it's kind of thicker on this end versus this end, I sit it down in here to where the thicker end is a little more towards the side of the machine, or the side of the case. because there's still actually a little bit of room up here, but because back here's where this other microphone is, I have that to where it won't interfere with that microphone too much. And then I can close my lid and press it down. You'll just hear the latches right now because you can't really hold it and latch it at the same time. But now it's closed back up and all those things are contained within it. So let's talk about the price and the value of something like this. So in addition to the fire resistance, the water resistance, the lock capabilities for security purposes, this definitely allows you to hold more. And its durability is definitely thicker than the $60 case. So what do you pay for this? A little more than 3 times of the price of this first case. This is a almost $200 item. So this is a $200 item. What do you call it? The Roadcaster that's inside of here, that is about a $700 item. The microphones are, I know one of them's $400, and the other one I think is $200 and something dollars. So what is that? 1,300. Stands are probably $15 a piece. So 1,330 plus the cable. Let's just say right around $1,350 worth of equipment in there right now. Now I can't add more things in there, which I may, but this one is about the same price as the stuff that's in here. But this is more storage, whereas this is a traveling unit. This is a remote unit. So if I need to go do a recording somewhere, I can put this together, take this with me, and it's very secure. The equipment is real protected as it travels. And that makes it a lot better for travel for me. So these cases, the Pelican cases that are this size, cost about $189. Like I said, you might be able to find a sale from time to time. $189, and they're pretty bulky. It does have a lot of weight to it. It does have a good handle on it. There's a very gripped handle. There's a good gripped handle right there, and it does lay flat. But these are pricey. You need to make sure you need something like this if you're really going to buy it, okay? It's not just for general storage. Make sure it's a value and make sure it's relative to what you're securing. So, for example, and also it comes in other colors. There's a yellow one beneath this one. But the whole point is that these are designed for real protection for expensive equipment. So don't buy it. I would say, now mine's a little low on this one. So the equipment price is, let's just say $1,350. The case itself, we'll just call $100 and $200 for easy standards right now. So it's more of like a 1-to-6 ratio. So I paid 1/6 of the price for the case to protect stuff in it that's about 6 times its value. Okay. That was not the case over here. That one was like 4%. So this is a 4% for this case to protect about $1,320 worth of items, or $1,300. This was about 18% to protect $1,300 worth of items. So so definitely more expensive investment, but I know that they're safe and they're secure in there, and I'm going to use this more for traveling remotely than I would use something like this. This would be something I might pull out in my studio if I needed a different mic I wanted to try or something to that effect. So those are the benefits of this. Also, these cases here, these aluminum cases that are $60, one color. It's kind of a gray, black, silver black kind of color. These have different colors. There's a camo color. I think there's like a kind of a tan color. There's a black, there's a gray, there's a red, there's an orange, there's a yellow. I actually have an orange one that's coming that I'm going to use for some other stuff that's supposed to come tomorrow, I believe. But I have these in different colors, and that's so I can know exactly what is what in each one, okay, because of my sight impairment. So definitely worth it, but you have to make sure that what you're putting into it is worth the value of it. So I'll give you another example in a second. Let me put this down for a second. Phone fell off. Hang on, make sure we're still in the right place there. Okay, so I'll put that there. Okay, so I'm going to put this down. All right. So now this is my yellow case. And just to give you kind of an idea, the differences between them. So this is the yellow case. So for some reason, the yellow padding here wasn't as adhered as the other one was. So I have to kind of mess with that one to put it back, tuck it back into place. It's not really that big of a deal, but it's still secure. It doesn't move around once it's in there, but I had to push that peak back in there. So this is definitely paying for its value, even more so. Not because the other one's not good, because this one covers a lot of items in it. So I'll show you how this one works here. So this is my assistive technology case. Okay, this is where I keep a lot of the stuff that I use for assistive technology. So this has magnifiers, magnifiers. It has this is called the Tap Strap 2, which is designed for tapping and typing without. It's an alternative to keyboard typing if you can't type. This is called the Orcam Read, which is an OCR device. This is an abacus beneath it. There's one type of magnifier. It's kind of an older magnifier. I have some manuals in there. I have what do you call it? Another. So this is what's called a portable CCTV, or you can call it a handheld video magnifier. Basically the same thing. I have another one here that's in a case. I have 3 of them stacked, one by one here, which are more video magnifiers. As a matter of fact, this is one of the ones I use more often here. And then there's a case for another one I have there. So beneath this layer, I won't pull it all out right now because these are Victor Reader streams right here on top. And then beneath it, I have other things, like I have a pair of what's called Envision glasses. I have a Pearl camera underneath. I have another video magnifier down there. What else do I have down there? Let's see, what else do I have down there? A Braille. I have a Braille labeler. I have a Orbit Braille display. I have another video magnifier down there. I might have 2 of them, as a matter of fact, down there. 2 more video magnifiers. I think in total I have one. Let's see, how many video magnifiers do I have? How many video magnifiers do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 video magnifiers in here. The Pearl camera, the Orcam Read, the Envision glasses, the Pearl camera. So let's just do an equipment run here. So this is the same price case, 3 levels of 1-inch foam. Same price, basically $200, $189. But let me just go through what's in here and tell you the price. So I know the Pearl camera is about $500 retail. I got it for $300, so I'm going to give it the price I paid for it, which is $300. The Envision glasses were $2,500 when I bought them, so that's $2,800. Not the Orbit, what do you call it? The Orbit Braille display. I think that's right around $400. So we're at what? 7 and 25, that's $3,400. I have a magnifier in here that's worth about $1,000. So that's about $4,500. Then you come up here to the tap strap. That's about 200. So that's 4,700. The Orcam reed is about 500. So that's 5,200. The all these different magnifiers in here, aside from that one specific one, are all probably rammed in about, at this rate, at this point in where they're at in their cycle of existence, those are probably about 200 total. So if it's 5,400, each of these Victor Streams are about $450 worth of value. So that's 900. So that's 600 and 6,300. So with all the stuff that's in here, their cables and everything like that, the abacus, the braille labeler, give or take, this is about $6,500 worth of material in this, that's held in this case. It's all adaptive technology. Okay, so $6,500, $1,200 of that is, you would have to go to divide, that would be what, 20,000 divided by 650. So 10% of 6,500 is 650. So right around 3% of the value of all the equipment in here is what this case cost. A little over 3%, but not much more. So you can see that what I'm paying for is constituted by what it's protecting and the variety of things it's protecting. So there's where the value comes in, stuff like that. So, and then, okay, so that one's good. And then let's see, is there one more one to show you? Yes, I do want to show you this. I'd like to show you this because I think it would be helpful to see or to know about when you're considering whether something like this is for you. I'll show you one more case that I have. This is another one of those cases I was telling you about. This is the gray version of that same case, and this is a different roadcaster. Put this here. So this is the Roadcaster Generation 1. So this one actually has a case on top of it. But you can see up here, there's little microphone stands. You can see some clips to clamp this to a table. You can see two microphones. These are called the Rode Pod mics. So those are part of this case. And so specifically their answer to other microphones out there. There's a bunch of cables and stuff underneath it. So this one is the original Rodecaster. So obviously it doesn't have the same value as the other one. I think this one's more like $500 an hour versus the other one being $700. But it takes up more space, and the microphones are like $200 a piece. So that's like $900. And then we have XLR cables in there. There's the power brick, XLR cables. So this is probably more of $1,000 worth of material. So it's 1/5 of the price. So I paid 20% of the value of all the equipment to case it, but it works and it protects the equipment in a way that I need it to. So it's worth the price because of that, because I want the equipment to remain protected and intact and working the way I want it to. So it's worth the value because of that. And that's why I have no problem with the payment of it, because I know it's protected. So this. There you go. And this one is the Big Daddy. And you may not be able to see this thing because of where it's at on here. So there's two latches on the sides for this one. There's a latch there and a latch there. And there is, making sure, oh, and there's handles on each side too. So this is the bigger of the Pelican cases. And then there's 2 latches up here. Actually, there's 3 latches in the front. I'll take a look back. There's 3 latches in the front. And then there's a total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 latches. And this is the biggest, by the way, this is the biggest Pelican case that I have found. And so if you lift up the case, if I don't get my finger jammed in there, okay. This is the biggest Pelican case. Excuse me. Once again, you have the padding, the bubble for the lid to make sure that it doesn't just hit hard plastic when you close it. The contents of it hit hard plastic. And this is where I keep my 2 big, really expensive cameras and a bunch of lenses, okay? So this case, as I recall, is right around $300. When I got it, it was $300. So what is it protecting? It's protecting 2 cameras and a bunch of lenses. So there's a GH4 and a GH5 in here. The GH4 is, when I bought it, it was about $1,500. It's probably worth about $1,200 now. The GH5 is probably 14 to 1,500 now. So that's about $2,600. Let's just call it $2,600. Plus I have these lenses that you can buy. And lenses are very important because it allows you to increase or to increase the kind of zoom and focus you can do with a camera. So some cameras don't come with lenses built in that have, not like your iPhone where they have, you know, zoom in and zoom out and all this digital zoom. These cameras use lenses that have the ability to do either super zoom. They have camera lenses that can go a large range. So just so you know, for example, the smaller the millimeter, so if it's like 18 millimeter to 135 millimeter, the smaller number on 18 means is wider. The 135 means how close it can get. And the closer it gets, that's what people do for like close-ups for movies or things like that. And the whole idea is what it does to the background. The kind of stuff it does to the background where it blurs the background and things like that and puts things in focus. So these lenses themselves, I want to say the price of the lenses, I have one there, and I think there's 1 or 2 in this case here. They're pretty expensive lenses. So I want to say the lenses are probably $600, $700 worth of stuff. So it's probably only about $3,300 worth of stuff. $3,000 to $3,000. I'm going to just be on the low end just for saying it, and say it's $3,000. Okay. Now I know you have to then go, wait a second, $3,000 and you paid $300 for the case, so it costs 10% of the price. Yes, but the cameras themselves would cost a lot more to repair than fixing the case. So the value of it, once again, is what's important. That's what you have to determine when you're buying these things. Put the camera down for a second. Put that down. Put my latches here. Okay, so last thing I want to say about these cases is these only have latches, only have locks for like the holes for locks, to put locks on them on the front. The sides do not have locks. They're on the front left side nearest the far latch, on the far right side to the right of the right latch. They do not have them on other parts of the cases. Okay, so I'm gonna put that down for 1 second. Put these cases all back in place because I pulled them out to show them to you. Okay. Okay. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. I won't keep you more, but I'm storing them under here right now as I'm getting ready to packing everything for the move. So you now get an idea of what the power of Pelican cases is and what it offers. So anywhere between 10% and, or actually 3% up to about 20% of the value of the material, but you have to determine if it's worth what you're protecting. And to me, it's worth what's protecting because of how I will be using the materials in the cases. But they are things to consider, and that's pretty much it. Hope this video gave you some value and gave you a little indication of how you can use Pelican cases to really organize some of your most important technology and things like that. See you later.